Hi, I'm Victoria.
I'm Grace.
And we're
Colors of Cannabis. Hey guys, grab your bongs, get your joints ready, because we're about to sesh and break down the nitty gritty. It is the new year. I think we're all happy to be done with 2020. I
forgot the FU balloons.
Oh yeah. She actually she got some. We had a very small, just our main families get together for the new year, and I loved it because we walk in and the balloon said "fuck 2020," and I actually thought that brought up a really great topic. And can we go green? It will happen. Oh wait, it's happening. See, that's the magic, movie magic. But so our green topic this week is the new year. And this has been kind of an interesting one because usually what we see is people really excited and very like, woo. I know last year we all had these high hopes, literally high hopes, of this new year. But this year, I didn't hear one person say like, oh, 2021.
Right.
Where were the 2021 glasses and the...
I think people are really cautious now, right? Because we don't know what it's going to look like. But overall, I did that year in review Instagram thing. And like I went through all the months on my iPhone, which is a really nice, convenient feature when you're trying to do things like that. And as I went through, January, and I saw pictures of us, actually, and I shared those with you. And then I saw pictures of us in February. And then we got into March. And March 13th was my son's birthday.
Oh, wow.
And it
was a big day.
The very last day that he was in school, because the shutdown happened that coming Monday. It was Friday the 13th. And the shutdown happened that Monday. And we were supposed to have gone on a family trip to Great Wolf Lodge, which is this really cool indoor water park with a hotel.
Ooh.
It's super family
where
oriented.
Is that?
It's in Anaheim.
Oh, okay. That's really cool.
And so we were really excited. And my father-in-law ended up getting admitted to the emergency room that same Friday and passed away that weekend. And we really didn't get... Not of COVID. He had lung cancer. Sorry. But we couldn't see him because of COVID. And that was the first time, like, it became a reality that the pandemic was real. And then, like, all the pictures in my phone started changing after March. Like, there were all these pictures of events up until then. And then there were just tons of pictures of us at home. And so, like, in April, my kids were swimming in the backyard, little inflatable pools that I had to go fight with other moms at Target to find.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
It's okay.
It's funny because with the pandemic, there is suddenly this surge of items that we couldn't find. I mean, not just toilet paper, but like dumbbells, just any type of exercise equipment or workout equipment. You can
that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, and so it is interesting, just the weird things. Pretty much anything that you, like subscriptions, any type of product that you suddenly utilize within your home.
It was hard to find. Like, we wanted to buy a deep freezer because, I'm not going to lie, we decided we wanted to stock up on meat.
What is a deep freezer?
Like a chest.
The ones that sit down?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a huge chest. The one that was in my kitchen.
See, you have to have a family for that. I don't know what I would do with a deep freezer. Well,
right? I have such inappropriate jokes that are really dark.
Right? Don't piss me off. That's what I would do with it. I mean that's all I think when I think of a deep freezer. Same. I watch way too much Law and Order. That was the last episode. They found the girl in the deep freezer. Oh, I remember
that because she was in isolation.
Yes, it was a quarantine. It was a quarantine episode, and she was literally in very severe isolation.
It was a quarantine episode with a twist on, like, the Amanda Knox story, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Because they talked about the bra clasp and all of that, and it was just
You know, that also is a side effect of quarantine and the lockdown, because suddenly when we had the unfortunate events with George Floyd and then Breonna Taylor, and there's so many others. I'm going to leave it there because I could just sit and list. That's two, I guess, of the more mainstream ones we heard of. But with all of that happening, I think we also saw an increase in, oh man, I hate to say it, but violence against police officers. And then probably in turn, we saw them, of course, react in a negative fashion. And then with the new use of, we're sitting around and we're watching, and we have people like Always Film the Police and all these different groups now that are actually filming, and we're seeing a surge in violence because we're seeing more. And so it's interesting because this year, with that happening, shows like Law and Order were canceled for a while. Pretty much any cop show, any legal type show became canceled, and they're coming back. But as you said,
it wasn't that they were canceled, it's that they couldn't film because of COVID. Even the movie industry got shut down for a while.
No, but no, a lot of these cop shows, check it out. We can fact check these things. But a lot of shows actually stopped existing. Any show that had cop relevance stopped. And even Law and Order was one of the few that did come back. And the first thing they did on their show was address, they had, I always get it wrong. Is it Ice Cube or Ice-T who's on Law and Order?
It's Ice-T.
Okay. So they had Ice-T actually come out and reevaluate a case that he had done where he's black, and he shot an unarmed black man. Oh, no, it was armed, but it possibly could have been, de-escalated without having to actually kill him. But they brought that up, and they end the episode with Ice-T actually saying, actually, maybe I am part of the problem, and maybe I also racially profile. So it's interesting that they cautiously came back but still addressed it, and they actually were wearing masks and adhering to the rules. So it changed how we view media. It changed how we interact. It's interesting.
So that's one of the shows I definitely watch. Do you watch This Is Us?
I just started.
It's
gut-wrenching.
It's gut-wrenching. Really sad. It's hard to watch.
Well, I live alone. I can't watch too many episodes of that without getting a little sad.
It was really interesting. I think they didn't.
Oh wait, don't give anything away though, because I'm
spoiler alert.
No, I'm only in season 2.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything about the storyline, but they really handled coming to COVID well and tying in current events to the storyline and what's going on in their lives. And like that's one of the things I've liked since all the shows that came off of their COVID hiatus and started later because they had to film differently. That's one of the things I've enjoyed seeing is how they're actually approaching COVID and talking about the reality. Like I like this other show, The Good Doctor. It's about this doctor that has autism. It's really well done in my opinion. And they talked about like what doctors were experiencing on the front lines, and like that made me cry seeing like a doctor living in his garage separate from his wife, and his wife leaving him plates of dinner with loving notes. And all of this came from things I read on social media, like of people talking about. So like TV got really good this fall. it
had really to. Good, I mean, there's no movie theaters. And this is what I mean about it affecting. But I'm going to loop it back into our topic, the new year. So, we have all the we talked about the sad stuff and some of the other things that COVID brought. But on a flip side, I will say some of the positive things that it brought, which is, I know not for all of us, but for some of us, we adapted new skills. We started new businesses, things that, dreams that maybe were put on hold suddenly came to fruition. I guess what I'm trying to say is I hope for all of you that in some way or another, you really got something out of it and really just, I'll segue. Not just got something out of it, but, every year people do resolutions.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I didn't hear anyone talk about resolutions this year. About 2 years ago, I stopped doing the resolution thing because I felt like it's a 2-week fad. It's, we're barely keeping up with actually like doing the thing we said we're going to do. So instead of doing a resolution, I thought, well, I didn't think, a friend suggested, you know what, let's do intentions for the year. So we started actually setting up intentions. I know Victoria and I this year really set a lot forward. I'll even ask you, what was your intention for 2021?
I have quite a few. But if I'm being really honest, 2020 taught me that I was taking quite a bit for granted in my life. It was a hard year for so many different reasons, but I was taking quite a bit for granted, and it was nice to spend more time with my son. He was at home every single day. And I take for granted how quickly he's growing. Like overnight, he went from this little kid with 2 missing front teeth to almost 10 years old and talking about some very inappropriate things from time to time.
10-year-old boy. Very different than a 10-year-old girl, I imagine.
He had the best New Year's Eve, though, because he had those 2 girls that he played with all night. The 2 little girls, the 7-year-old. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we should use names. Sorry.
Please beep that out. The 2 little girls that he played with all night, my best friend's daughter and our business partner's daughter, and they're 7, and all they cared about were LOL dolls and singing karaoke. And all of a sudden, he made them play hide and go seek with toy guns. And
I saw this.
Yeah.
By the way, they were running with like what looked like sticks. So I had to ask, like, what's going on? What's the sticks? And a little girl, the 7-year-old, looked up at me with a big smile, and she said, "They're not sticks, they're weapons."
Yep.
I was alarmed for about 2 seconds until I found out that the weapons did good. They were magical fairy weapons. These were not weapons of violence, which is funny, by the way, because kids have such an interesting way of putting things. As an adult, have we just become jaded? Because I heard weapon and thought weapons of mass destruction. And this cute little girl was basically saying, no, it's a weapon of love and kindness. And but so sorry, you were giving us your intentions.
And so I just got to remember to spend more time with my family. And even though I want, my business to pick up and things to change and things to move forward in my career, and I have all these other intentions and aspiration for that, I need to hold on to the fact that this year I spent more time with my family than I have in the last few years. And that was really rewarding and felt really good and reminded me why I work so hard. And I need to maintain that.
I think that's really good.
Really need to maintain that.
And I think that's part of why it's cool to keep intentions and not a resolution. Intention is just something you're thinking about, just something to be aware of. And that's a great goal for the year. I mean, spending more time with family. I think just balance in general between work and family life is so hard.
It is. Oh my gosh, it is.
My intentions are a little different.
What are your intentions?
I guess, gosh, now sounds selfish. You're like, thinking about the family. I'm thinking a little.
I have personal intentions too, but that's probably the one that's at the most forefront of my mind. And we have very different lives, so don't feel like yours is selfish.
Yeah. Well, mine was more self-based, I guess. I was made very aware this year that while I don't judge others and treat others really well, I don't always do the same to myself. I tend to have more harsh criticism on myself than anyone else, and just less. I have good self-esteem. I just don't have a lot of self-compassion.
Yeah.
And so this year, my intention is to judge myself less, to give myself the same self-compassion that I would give somebody else. I know living alone and going through this pandemic, it's so easy to get in your head and start thinking like, can I do this? And can I do that? And what am I doing? And is this lazy? And what is the new lazy? What are the new normals, And it's people just set these intentions and go with them. So I urge you, whatever your self-intention or just, you can have more than one. I guess that's the only one I got right now. But
my intention is to be more focused on some other stuff we have going on in our lives.
I like that.
Our personal business.
Yeah, actually, fun thing with that, and I'm going to do this as appropriately as possible. For those of you that are just listening, I am wearing a dress, and so my legs are crossed. I'm trying to be cognizant of the camera. So for the people that are only listening, I am now cautiously moving.
We're
to
trying
get
to avoid
something.
paparazzi shots.
Yeah. Things you don't think about. Maybe you won't do it.
And now I can't stop looking.
Oh, I see that? The crossover. I did a very casual crossover. We learned so much doing these, and we learned that for the people that just listen, sometimes we talk about something, but we don't describe what it is. And so if you're like driving in your car, you wouldn't know what we were saying. So for those of you that can't see it, I just grabbed a very sparkly, beautiful looking box from under. And on the note of intentions, guys, you don't have to do much to like help each other out. I know times are tough right now, and sometimes you want to do something nice for someone and you think, I don't have the money, I don't have the whatever. Well, you can. We wanted to share this with you guys. And then sorry for all the noise. That's me opening crinkly paper
It's
for a
easily
gift.
one of the best handmade gifts I've ever seen given to anyone.
And I don't think she'll care if I use her name. So my friend Alessandra made this, and here's why this is cool. Sometimes, this year was tough for all of us, and we kind of made a deal to not do what we usually do and spend a ton of money. And we also made a deal to try to support more local businesses or recycle, reuse, reinvent, not necessarily have to go on these huge, corporations or businesses. Go small. So she repurposed and reinvented. I'm going to move this. It's way too loud. It was just the crinkle paper. So what I'm looking at is it's an old cigar box. And my friend took an old cigar box, which were donated. I'm sure you can find them or get them easily. And then how do I even explain this? She used
There's washi tape all around the sides of it, and the washi tape is like different designs, and they're really
decorative,
cute, super girly.
Very girly. She knows I'm a girly girl. It's pink. And then on the top, and this is why it's cool, guys, because sometimes there's other ways to support people's businesses. So Victoria and I, with this new year, have a new venture coming up, and we've been hesitant to talk too much about it. So this will be our first time really saying. So we have partnered, and we will be launching a brand, and I'll leave it there. But it will be a Greens with Grace line. Woo woo. And so on the online with intentions, she set good intentions into this box. It says Greens with Grace, then you open it up, and really simple, guys. She literally did almost like a vision board. Be cool. She knows I stress a lot. And then she says treat yourself, lunch date, me time, things I don't do enough of. And then just took favorite simple things. She went to a thrift store and got an old vintage tea mug. She knows I drink a lot of tea. And then sat and made a candle. Again, fun, easy ideas. Probably hands down one of the most thoughtful things. And
it smells amazing. It smells amazing.
And it's got, for those that can't see it, literally it's got fresh herbs from teas and sprinkles, two of my favorite things. And then, and I love that we could say this because it's ours and we don't have brands that tell us not to do this, a handmade mushroom tea bag her and her roommate made. This is so cool. So this in itself is a personal trip. You guys, she basically got me plane tickets to outer space.
I love that.
So again, fun, simple. You've got to get some psychedelic goodies and then some fresh tea. Easy, fun ideas.
Do you boil it in the tea bag like that?
You do.
I love that.
So you boil it in the tea bag and then close your eyes, open your mind, and just go to another place. And so talk about setting intentions. It's like a vision board with intention all at once. Right. So that's what we wanted to really kind of give you guys on this episode. Sorry, we wanted to, sorry for those of you that can't see, I paused because, again, functionality with the dress, just making sure we're keeping it kosher for those that are watching at home. Anyways.
And I love you, but Greens with Grace is something that's become really important to Grace and I over, like, honestly, the last 6 months.
Yeah.
When we decided that, well, actually, when we first started talking about doing it, it was kind of off the cuff, and we both had some things going on, but it had been a discussion for a while. And then about 4 months ago, it really started getting traction, and we said we want to do this. I mean, I had a major career change around that time, and some of the things I was going through influenced me a bit to say, I want to do something for myself. I want to build something for myself. So that's why I asked Grace, hey, are you still thinking of doing your own brand? And she said, yeah. And I asked her if she was going to take on any partners, and she said no. And I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. Because she thought I was talking about investors, but really I was talking about wanting to do something with her, because as long as I've known her, she's just been a great person to know and work with.
I'm paying her to say this.
Right? Just kidding.
We're totally kidding.
But she has become one of the best people I've come to know. And so it just made sense to want to do something with her. And then when she realized it was me, it just kind of started jiving.
Oh my gosh, that moment was so funny, because as she said, I immediately was like, no, I'm doing this myself. I don't want big money coming in. I don't want investors. I don't. And she says, oh. And as I heard her kind of say, oh, I realized, wait a minute, is this even an option? Is Victoria on the board? Like, and so then I asked her, wait a minute, do you mean you? And she said, well, yeah. And I said, well, hold on, that's a totally different conversation. And it was one of those things where for so long I had waited. And a lot of people in my life know I really was hesitant. I had other opportunities, and I kept putting it off, and just I needed it to feel right. And in that moment, it was like the stars aligned.
It really was.
And so, guys, we cannot wait. We cannot wait. 2021. I know everyone's cautious about it, but this is it. I mean, we've had a year off, and we don't know how much longer it will go. And so I urge you, do that thing that scares you.
Yeah.
Take that chance, because that's it. You aren't guaranteed the next day, the next breath, the next moment. We don't know. So,
well, I wholeheartedly believe we won't fail. I don't think it's going to be easy. And I am fully prepared to fall flat on my face if that is what it is. But it feels good to do something for myself, and something like you said, that I'm scared to do. And I do have fears and apprehensions about the future, and doing something without a real safety net, because I've had a safety net the last few years as I've worked for other people and helped build their businesses. You know, working at a company where I was a significant part of the sales, and to see them grow so much over the year, and to be so foundational in their culture and what they did, made me realize, like, as much as I enjoyed that, there are just things that I would like to do for me.
yeah, this is it. I mean, man, if we could leave you guys with anything, if you're listening, like, you have to try. Do the things that scare you, because it's at a point where it's like you're either going to sit in your own fear and not move forward and not ever try. And that's okay. Keep doing the 9 to 5. And there are people that are comfortable with that. And honestly, that's okay if that's what you want. But if you do have a dream, if you have something in mind, I urge you to just try. Because to me, even when we fail, isn't that when we learn the most? I know in my greatest moments of what seemed like the worst failures and what am I going to do next? Such great things have come from that. And it's, I say this all the time, but it's bitter or better. You get bitter or you get better.
I have to share this story just because we're talking about failure, but my husband and I, when we first met, our baby was 6 months old. We took our life savings, $14,000, and invested it into owning our own company. And it failed miserably within 6 months. And I, and our just under a year old son, ended up sleeping on the living room floor of my very best friend's home, 1-bedroom apartment,
That is some real shit.
for like 3-4 months before we could get back on our feet. And I mean, we failed hard, and look at where we are now. So you're right, every failure is a stepping stone. And like this year really highlighted that for me. Like, it's been a journey to get to where I'm at, and like 2020 was kind of a reset year. Like, I started thinking so many things were going to happen. Like, my husband's catering business had booked parties for Hall of Flowers. Like, he was supposed to experience success in certain ways.
And Hall of Flowers, just for anyone who doesn't know, it is it's like a huge conference for people in cannabis. It's a seed to sale, and when I say that, I mean basically beginning to end in layman's terms. Everything from the seed, literally, of the cannabis plant, track and traced all the way to getting in the hands of the consumer when they buy it. Just always want to clarify that. But
so it was supposed to be a year of growth, and it actually ended up being a year of, for everybody, of, oh, you need to figure some things out, because it's just, the world's not going to keep operating the way it has been.
that's devastating. As someone who's attended the Hall of Flowers, cannabis business conference, it is really huge to our industry. I mean, it's where purchasers find products that you guys then go out and buy in dispensaries. It's just where a lot of business people come together and get a chance to go shopping. We don't have a lot of platforms.
We don't.
We can't promote on.
I think they did a really good job of actually pivoting this year on how they did their events. Like, they had an online
I didn't go to
marketplace.
it. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But I mean, I didn't go to it either, but I do know people that didn't attend it because it was strictly for buyers. It was literally for people who are looking for product to put in their retails. It was a really, really good event, but the way they held it virtually and booking appointments, from the people that I know that attended, there was great feedback. So I think this year just highlighted, like, you have to be able to pivot in your business and change what you're doing and be flexible, and you cannot be set in your ways, and you have to be open to change.
Absolutely. I made it sound so easy, like, just go for your dreams. But what Victoria said is so correct. When going for your dreams, know that you have to be like the octopus, and the octopus will change and evolve and adapt to its environment. It will change its body to shift into any space it can't get in. It'll change the color of its skin to hide from a predator. And as an entrepreneur, I try to think of the octopus. Don't get stuck on your idea. Know that having something successful is better than being set on your idea or your way. Find a team. That I'd say is number one. Find a really great team that supports you and not always just agrees with you, but really supports and, recognizes your vision, and then you move forward. But be willing to change, adapt, and just, I guess you just have to try, though.
Well, I guess, wow, I think it's going to be a good 2021.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, on that, I will just say, moving forward, guys, I hope you set every day, with good intention, and just keep that in mind. Forget the resolutions. Like, just keep your intentions throughout the year, and whatever that is, whether it's personal, work, life, or just trying to keep a balance between those.
Well, I'm starting this year off really nicely. I'll have a birthday this coming week.
Ooh, we could talk about that next time.
Yep. Actually, by the time you watch this, my birthday will be tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, I keep forgetting that. There's real time and then there's pod time.
Right. So hopefully, we'll see. It should be a good year.
Well, cheers to the new year and your birthday tomorrow. I just winked. Cheers, you guys.
Bye.